Splatoon Raiders is a game I didn't really expect to like nearly as much as I did. Like, I didn't have that many hopes going into the game, and I feel like the way that Nintendo like showcased the game made me a bit confused as to exactly what it's supposed to be. But this game really ended up surprising me, and I ended up liking it a lot more than I imagined. And I feel like this will honestly be one of like the defining games of 2026 for me, especially just like summer 2026, because like I mean the game just perfectly fits the summer vibe. I was gonna split this video into like multiple sections. That's kind of my plan with these, is typically talk about like gameplay, story, like a couple other things. But with this game, I would say the gameplay is like the only worthwhile thing to talk about. So getting into it, when I was like first playing the game, it starts out feeling like, oh, this is just gonna be like another Splatoon game, you know, like you got your gun, you're shooting, you're going through these just like pretty basic levels. And my impressions at first were kind of iffy. I was like, oh, I don't really want this to just feel like a very hollow Splatoon story mode, because I typically like the story modes, but this was kind of starting to feel a little bit less ambitious than that. But the game very quickly opens up more, and you easily start to realize like what kind of game this is supposed to be. People were saying it a lot going into it. I mean, I guess it's kind of obvious. I just haven't really played many games like this. But it's a looter shooter kind of game. You play these quick levels. You're rewarded with like a ton of different types of loot. There's a lot of like crafting and gear management, and you can create just so many interesting builds that fit your play style. There's like different types of tanks. There's like the power tank, tactical tank, speed tank, and they all have like different play styles and different gadgets and different ways of leveling them up, and they're honestly pretty different. Yeah, you'll get into this loop of doing these short raids, which are basically, there's like 3 or 4 types of raids. There are like the pretty basic Splatoon levels where it's like a big open area. You kind of like navigate going around to mine these like rocks or whatever. So those are more like open-ended levels. Then you have like the traditional, you know, like salmon run kind of thing where you're in this like enclosed space and there are like multiple floors to it. So like typically like 3 floors, there'll be like a boss at the end. And those get really crazy. Like you're in this like cramped area trying to like prioritize what to do and what type of salmon to get out first and just kind of running around. There are also these like, I would say if you've played Octo expansion, or like honestly this is more like the story mode levels where it's more like parkour focused. So there's, you know, a couple different types of levels, and it keeps the game pretty varied, because I will say like the game is great, but it can get repetitive fast. Like it's best to play it in like 1 to 2 hour bursts, but this, you know, helps keep things varied throughout that hour or two that you're playing each time. But yeah, despite the game being marketed as a single player game, I actually had way more fun with multiplayer. The way that the multiplayer works is that you can help out other people, and you can also request help, but you can only request help on your levels every 30 minutes. But there's also a like online play with your friends option where it's just unlimited. You know, you all can play as long as possible, as long as everyone has those levels unlocked. I unfortunately didn't get to do that too many times with my online friends. We did like one pretty long play session, and it was fun. But just, you know, our schedules aligning, it's kind of hard to constantly get on the game. But there is also the option of helping people out online and having people help you out. It just kind of helps manage the game a bit, but also adds this like teamwork element to it where like you feel like you're contributing to a team, and I think that's like that kind of adds to some of the fun. But yeah, like the main loop of this game is play levels to get good gear, to upgrade your tank so that you can start to withstand these harder levels. It's so hard to like describe or even like showcase like how fun this game is. Like it, if you're watching it, and this is how I am, if you're watching it, it just looks like more like Splatoon or more like Salmon Run, but it has this just really good flow, and like the amount of like interesting ways you can build your character is like, it's so fun. Like me personally, I did like a power tank with I was going for like a freeze build, so like towards the end game, or like middle to end game, you start getting some crazier parts. Some are like freezing, burning. I like to freeze build, so I was like jumping around. I had all these like movement tools, like a big jump. There's a grappling hook you get. There's like a blast boot that does this like big jump and leaves an explosion. So I was doing that. I had this like hatchet move that like would slash and leave a bunch of enemies frozen. There's just like so many unique ways that you could build your character. Like you can really make this feel like how you want to play. Like if you want to be more like support based, there's like the tactical tank that like leaves out turrets and like projectiles. The speed tank that's like more about movement with like the slingshot and the blast boot and the jump and the dash. And there's the power tank that comes with like a lot of just heavy hitting moves. And eventually you're even kind of able to mix them together. Not fully, but you can kind of start to mix them together, and it opens up so many options. There's like, while you're playing, you're gonna see so many things. You're like, oh, I want to get that. I want to unlock that. But I gotta do this, so I gotta do this level again. And it, like, the loop becomes so obvious so quickly, and it's so fun. But the way that the game like really tests you is with the ending and like the post game. So I guess you could say this is a little bit of spoilers, but not. I don't really consider it spoilers, or nothing like too important. But either way, just in case, here's the spoiler warning. So after you beat the main story, you get a mode called the Bottomless Buffet, which is just like an endless, like gauntlet of levels. And they are like pushing your skill to the max. Like it is hard difficulty, salmonids like everywhere, and it really tests your build. And to me, like, that is honestly where a lot of the fun opened up, because I've been trying to get, there's technically an endless amount of floors, but it ends at around like 100. The final boss, they say, is at like floor 100. This is where the game starts getting like really tough and starts pushing your build. But yeah, these levels like put your builds to the test and highly incentivize you to like grind and know what you're doing. I plan on eventually playing this mode with friends. Unfortunately, you can't do this mode online, like with random people, which I can understand. It's a little bit of a downer, but you could do this mode with friends. But you also get in the post game, you get spicy levels, which are like harder versions of levels, but they have like big rewards and more specific rewards. These also get pretty tough, and I would definitely recommend doing these with friends or with people online. But they make for just great ways to keep grinding in the game and to keep powering up your build. And they definitely like kept my attention a bit more, because with the normal ones, they're not like, nothing in this game is like really that hard. So like the normal ones, I was just kind of, enjoying my time, but like kind of breezing through. But in the post game with these spicy levels and stuff is where like it really starts to test your skill, and I have a lot of fun with these. I wish there was an easier way to like navigate the menu to find which items you need for what. So like if I need this one resource, I wish I could see which levels are gonna give out that resource, but it's pretty easy to find just looking through the map. Overall thoughts, this game is just a really fun time. I mean, it's nothing too serious, but it's also something that is just like fun to play, feels fun, it's fun to build your own character, fun to play with friends, especially. I feel like if you have friends that are going to get this game, I would definitely recommend it. But the online play option is still there, and that's what I did for a lot of it. Yeah, they didn't really do a great job of showcasing this game, and I probably didn't do a great job of talking about this game, but I really recommend it, especially for the price. I think it's like $50 digital, 60 physical. I got the digital version just because, I just saved money, I guess. But yeah, if you like any of like the Splatoon, Salmon Run modes, like the campaigns, or honestly just action RPGs and like looter shooters in general, you will have fun with this game. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I know this was a bit more of like a just kind of off the cuff review of the game. That's kind of how I want to do them for now, is just kind of try to keep these, pretty down to earth, pretty like honest thoughts, because I feel like there's a lot of reviews out there that are just kind of, they don't feel genuine, and I want these to feel like genuine reviews and like my actual thoughts and stuff of these games. definitely have much more reviews coming, especially with all the new games coming out. But yeah, look forward to the next video, and I will see you guys later.